reception. The Waves is dear to my heart. It's was the first show Claudia and I worked together. She was the technical person on that particular show, and then she became the centerpiece of all of the work that I did from then on. Claudia is really responsible for this. She's always loved The Waves. When she saw it in 1977, 43 years ago, in New York City in a little storefront on 22nd Street, where was the first space we ever had that was our own, and we could be there every day, every minute of the day, every hour, morning, noon, and night. We could have a place to perform and work. Tony Zanetta on the end worked with us in New York City on many plays, so it's an honor to have Tony back with us. So this is just the beginning of our 50th anniversary celebration. We'll be doing this all year, so be ready. We have a lot of things to offer you. Tomorrow night we're going to be opening the exhibit in there, so we anticipate another glorious and fun event. So I want to just say how much The Waves has meant to me and Virginia Woolf in terms of getting my thinking about what I wanted to have on the stage after directing and reading many, many plays by men and many, many narrative stories. I really didn't want to go down that path anymore.
Come on in.
We're ready for it. This will, after the whale, you need this. So it was really Virginia Woolf and Gertrude Stein that got me to think about language, pure language for the theater, and that is really this is one of the first things that I did after I did The Making of Americans in 1976. So this was the next experiment. The Waves, there were 6 people. They learned all the lines, they moved. This is only half of what I did that night or for that performance. So this particular group of people is going to be doing just half of that event. So I think that's enough. We can talk about it afterwards if you like. So all the performers will be here. And here we go. All right, ready.
Said Ginny.
Said Bernard.
Said Rhoda.
Said Neville.
Said Susan.
Said Lewis.
Said Ginny.
Said Bernard.
Said Rhoda.
Said Neville.
Said Susan.
Said Lewis.
The sun.
I see a ring, said Bernard, hanging above me. It quivers and hangs in a loop of light.
Had not yet risen.
I see a slab of pale yellow, said Susan, spreading away until it meets a purple stripe.
The sea was indistinct.
I hear a sound, said Rhoda. Cheep, chirp, cheep, chirp,
Squishable
going up and down.
from the sky.
I see a globe, said Neville, hanging down in a drop against the enormous flanks of some hill.
Except that the sea was slightly creased.
I see a crimson tassel, said Ginny, twisted with gold threads.
As if a cloth had wrinkles in it. I hear something stamping, said Lewis. A great beast's foot is chained. It stamps and stamps and stamps and stamps and stamps and stamps.
Gradually, as the sky whitened,
A dark line
Lay on the horizon.
dividing
The sea.
From
the sky.
and the gray cloth became
Barred.
With thick strokes, moving. With thick strokes, moving. With thick strokes, moving.
I see a slab.
With thick strokes, moving.
I see a globe.
With thick strokes, moving.
I see a crimson.
with thick strokes moving.
I hear something.
Gradually,
I see a ring.
as the sky whitened, a dark line lay on the horizon, dividing the sea from the sky, and the gray cloth became barred, with thick strokes moving.
One
Beneath
after
the
another.
Following
Surface.
each other.
Pursuing each
One.
other,
Perpetually.
After
Following
another.
surface.
each
pursuing
other.
each other,
Perpetually.
One
Beneath
after
the
another.
following
surface.
each
pursuing
other.
Perpetually.
One
Beneath
after
the
another.
Following
surface.
pursuing
other.
Perpetually.
One after
Beneath the
another.
surface.
Perpetually.
One after
Perpetually.
As
They
neared
The
shore.
Each bar rose,
Heaved
heaved itself, broke
and swept.
and
swept,
and swept
swept.
and swept
A thin veil.
of
White.
water,
and swept
Across
The
and
sand.
swept
The sand.
and swept
The sand.
and swept
The sand.
and swept.
the wave paused and then drew out again, sighing like a sleeper whose breath comes and goes, unconsciously comes and goes, unconsciously comes and goes.
Gradually, the dark bar on the horizon became clear, as if the sediment in an old wine bottle had sunk and left the glass green.
Behind it
it
too, the sky cleared.
As if
the
the
white
white
sediment
sediment
there
sediment
had
there
sunk,
had
there
as
had
if
sunk,
the arm of a woman
couched beneath the horizon had raised a lamp,
And
flat bars of white,
green and yellow,
spread across the sky
like the blaze
of a
of a
fan.
fan.
Spread.
look at the spider's web on the corner of the balcony, said Bernard. It has beads of water on it, drops of white light.
The leaves are gathered round the window like pointed ears, said Susan.
A shadow falls on the path, said Louis, like an elbow bent.
islands of light are swimming on the grass, said Rhoda. They have fallen through the trees.
The bird's eyes are bright in the tunnels between the leaves, said Neville.
The stalks are covered with harsh, short hairs, said Ginny, and drops of water have stuck to them.
A caterpillar is curled in a green ring, said Susan, notched with blunt feet.
The gray-shelled snail draws across the path and flattens the blades behind him, said Rhoda.
And burning lights from the window panes flash in and out on the grasses, said Louis.
Stones are cold. To my feet, said Neville, I feel each one round or pointed separately.
The back of my hand burns, said Ginny, but the palm is clammy and damp with dew.
Now the cock crows like a spurt of hard red water in the white tide, said Bernard.
Then she raised her lamp higher,
and the air seemed to become fibrous.
and to tear away from the green surface.
flickering and flaming in red and yellow fiber.
Like the smoky fire that roars from a bonfire.
Gradually, the fibers of the burning bonfire were fused into one haze, one incandescence, which lifted the weight of the woolen gray sky on top of it and turned and turned.
I see.
And turned.
I hear.
Into
I see.
a million atoms of soft blue.
Look at the spider's web.
The leaves are gathered round.
A shadow falls.
Islands of light are swimming.
The bird's eyes are bright.
The stalks are covered.
The caterpillar is curled.
The gray-shelled snail draws across.
And burning lights from the window panes flash.
Stones are cold to my feet.
The back of my hand burns.
The surface of the sea slowly
Slowly.
became transparent and lay rippling and sparkling until the dark stripes were almost rubbed out.
Slowly,
The arm,
The
the
arm.
held
the lamp,
The lamp
raised it,
higher,
and then
higher.
until
A broad flame became visible,
An arc.
visible, of fire
burnt
on the rim
of the horizon,
and all
and all
around.
round, and all round. It's the sea, blazed gold, blazed gold, blazed gold.
The light struck
The sun.
upon the tree,
The sea,
in the garden,
the sky.
making one leaf
The sea.
transparent,
The sky,
and then another.
the horizon,
One bird
the sea,
chirped high up.
The sky.
There was a pause.
the gray cloth,
Another
The surface.
chirped lower down.
The shore.
the sun,
The sand.
sharpened
The wave.
the walls
The dark bar.
of the house,
the horizon,
and rested like
The sediment.
the tip
The glass.
of a fan upon
The sky.
a white blind
The white sediment.
and made
the arm of a woman.
a blue fingerprint
The horizon.
of a shadow
The sky.
under the leaf
The blades of a fan.
by the bedroom window.
The air.
The blind
The green surface.
stirred slightly,
The smoky fire,
but all
The fibers
with
The burning
In.
bonfire
The weight.
was
The woolen gray sky.
dim,
The surface.
and
The sea.
unsubstantial.
The dark stripes.
The blind.
The arm,
Stirred
The lamp.
slightly.
The rim.
But
The horizon.
the
all
sea,
within
The light.
the trees,
was
The garden.
dim
The sun.
and
The walls.
The
unsubstantial.
house.
the tip of a fan,
The leaf.
The bedroom window.
The blind.
Unsubstantial.
The birds.
But all within
Was dim and
Unsubstantial.
unsubstantial.
The birds sang their blank melody outside, said
Said
Rhoda.
Rhoda. Outside.
Birds are singing up and down and in and out, all around us, said Susan.
One bird chirped high up. There was a pause. Another chirped lower down, said Neville. And the birds sank their blank melody outside, said Neville.
the beast stamps the elephant with its foot chained. The great brute on the beach stamps, said Lewis.
The blind stirred slightly, but all within was dim and unsubstantial, said Neville.
Look at the house, said Ginny, with all its windows white with blinds, said Ginny.
And the sun sharpened the walls of the house and rested like the tip of a fan upon a white blind, said Neville.
Cold water begins to run from the scullery tap, said Rhoda. Over the mackerel in the bowl, said Rhoda.
I am all alone, said Neville.
The walls are cracked with gold cracks, said Bernard, and there are blue finger-shaped shadows of leaves beneath the windows, said Bernard.
An arc of fire burnt on the rim of the horizon, and all round is the sea blazed gold, said Neville.
Now, Mrs. Constable pulls up her thick black stockings, said Susan.
It is here. It is past. Gradually, the fibers of the burning bonfire were fused into one haze, said Neville.
The birds sang in chorus first, said Rhoda. Now the scullery door is unbarred. Off they fly like a fling of seed. But one sings by the bedroom window alone, said Rhoda.
Said.
One,
Alone,
one,
alone,
Alone.
one.
Bubbles form on the floor of the saucepan, said Ginny. Then they rise, quicker and quicker, in a silver chain to the top, said Ginny.
I hear something stamping. A great beast's foot is chained. It stamps and stamps, said Lewis.
Now Biddy scrapes the fish scales with a jagged knife onto a wooden board, said Neville.
It is here. It is past, said Rhoda.
The dining room window is dark blue now, said Bernard, and the air ripples above the chimneys, said Bernard.
It is here. It is past, said Ginny.
A swallow is perched on the lightning conductor, said Susan. And Biddy has smacked down the bucket on the kitchen flags, said Susan.
It is here. It is past, said Bernard.
That is the first stroke of the church bell, said Lewis. Now the others follow. 1,
1,
2,
2,
1,
1,
2,
2,
1,
1,
2,
2.
said Lewis.
It is here. It is past, said Susan.
Look at the tablecloth, flying white along the table, said Rhoda. Now there are rounds of white china and silver streaks beside each plate, said Rhoda.
Suddenly a bee booms in my ear, said Neville. It is here. It is past.
1,
2,
2,
1, 2, 1, 2.
I burn, I shiver, said Ginny, out of this sun into this shadow.
Out of this sun into this shadow.
1, 2, 1, 2,
1, 2.
I am alone. I am alone. I am alone.
Now they have all gone, said Lewis. I am alone.
Now they have all gone. I am alone.
Lewis
Said
Ginny,
Said Neville.
said Susan,
said
Bernard. Said Rhoda.
I see.
I see.
I hear.
I see.
I see.
I hear.
It
Is.
Here.
It
Is.
Past.
They have gone into the house for breakfast.
And I am left standing by the wall among the flowers.
It is very early.
I am left standing by the wall among the flowers.
Before lessons.
Flower after. Flowers specked in depths of green.
The petals are harlequins.
Stalks rise from the black hollows beneath. The flowers swim.
Like fish made of light upon the dark green waters.
I hold a stalk in my hand. I am the stalk.
I hold the stalk in my hand.
My roots go down
I am the stalk.
to the depths
My roots go down
of the world,
to the depths
through earth,
of the world,
dry with brick,
through earth,
and damp earth,
dry with brick
through veins of lead
and damp earth,
and silver.
through veins of lead and silver.
I am all fiber. All tremors shake me
And the weight of the earth is pressed
to my ribs,
up here
my eyes,
are green leaves
unseeing. I am a boy.
in gray flannels with a belt fastened by a brass snake.
Up here, down there my eyes.
Are lidless eyes of a stone figure in a desert by the Nile,
I see women passing.
with red pitchers to the river.
I see camels swaying and men in turbans. I hear
Tramplings.
around me,
Tremblings.
Round me.
round
Stirrings.
me,
Round me.
round me,
Round me.
round
Round,
me,
round,
Round
round
me.
me. Round me. Round me.
Up here, Bernard, Neville,
Neville.
Ginny, and Susan,
Susan.
but not Rhoda. Skim the flower beds with their nets. They skim the butterflies from the nodding tops of the flowers. They brush the surface of the world, but not Rhoda. They brush the surface of the world. Their nets are full of fluttering wings.
Fluttering wings. Lewis?
They shout, but they cannot see me. I am on the other side of the hedge. Oh Lord, let them pass.
There are only little eye
There are
holes.
only little eye holes.
Oh Lord, let them pass.
Eye holes, little eye holes.
Oh Lord, let them pass. grass.
among the leaves.
Lord, let them lay their butterflies on a pocket handkerchief on the gravel. Let them count out their tortoise shells, their red admirals and cabbage whites. Let me be unseen. I am green as a yew in the yew tree in the shade of the hedge. My hair is made of leaves. I am rooted to the middle of the earth. My body is a stalk. I press the stalk. I press the stalk.
A drop oozes from the hole at the mouth and slowly, thickly grows larger.
Now something pink passes the eye hole. Now an eye beam is slid through the chink. Now
Its beam strikes me.
Now
I am a boy in a gray flannel suit.
She has found me.
She has found me.
I am struck on the nape of the neck.
She has
Kissed me. All is shattered.
all is shattered.
All is shattered.
I was running, said Ginny, after breakfast. I saw leaves moving in a hole in the hedge. I thought,
That is a bird on its nest.
I parted them and looked.
But there was no bird on a nest.
The leaves went on moving.
The leaves went on moving.
I was frightened. I ran fast,
Susan,
past
Rhoda,
and
Neville,
and
Bernard.
in the tool house talking.
the leaves went on.
I cried as I ran faster and faster.
The leaves went
What moved
What
past
is the leaves?
my heart, my legs? And I dashed in, seeing you green as a bush, like a branch.
Very still.
Very still, Louis, with your eyes fixed.
Very still.
Is he dead?
Is he dead? I thought, and kissed you.
All is shattered.
She has kissed me.
And kissed you, with my heart jumping under my pink frock like the leaves.
The leaves, which go on moving,
Now,
though there is nothing to move them.
Now I smell geraniums.
now,
I smell earth mold.
I smell geraniums. I smell earth mold.
I dance. I ripple. I am thrown over you.
Like a net of light.
Now,
I lie,
now,
Oh, quivering.
flung over you.
Louis. 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 Through the chink in the hedge, said Susan. I saw her kiss him. I raised my head from my flower pot and looked through a chink in the hedge. I saw,
Her,
Kiss
Him
I saw them.
Ginny.
and Louis.
kissing.
Now.
I will wrap my agony inside my pocket handkerchief.
It
Shall be screwed tight into a ball. I will go to the beech wood alone before lessons. I will not sit at a table doing sums. I will not sit next Jenny, next Jenny, and next Louis. I will take my anguish and lay it upon the roots under the beech trees. I will examine it and take it between my fingers. They will not find me.
They will not find me.
They will not find me. I shall eat nuts and peer for eggs through the brambles, and my hair will be matted, and I shall sleep under the hedges and drink water from ditches and die there.
Susan has passed us, said Bernard. She has passed the tool house door.
With her handkerchief screwed into a ball.
She was not crying.
But her eyes, which are so beautiful, were narrow as cat's eyes before they spring.
I shall follow her, Neville. I shall go gently behind her,
To be at hand,
with my curiosity,
to comfort her,
when she bursts
out in a rage,
and thinks,
I am alone. I am alone. I am alone.
now she walks across the field with a swing.
Nonchalantly to deceive us.
Then she comes to the dip. She thinks she is unseen. She begins to run with her fists clenched in front of her.
Her
nails meet in the ball of her pocket handkerchief.
She's making for the beech woods, out of light. She spreads her arms as she comes to them and takes to the shade like a swimmer. But she is blind after the light and trips and flings herself down on the roots, under the trees where the light seems to pant in and out, in and out.
The branches heave up and down. There is agitation and trouble here.
There is gloom.
And down.
The light is fitful.
There is anguish
There is
here.
anguish here.
The roots make a skeleton on the ground with dead leaves heaped in the angles.
Susan has spread her anguish out.
Her
pocket handkerchief is laid on the roots of the beech trees, and she sobs, sitting crumpled where she has fallen.
I saw her kiss him.
Said Susan.
I looked between the leaves and saw her. She danced in flecked with diamonds, light as dust. And I am squat, Bernard. I am short. I have eyes that look close to the ground
That look close.
and see insects in the grass. The yellow warmth in my side turned to stone when I saw Jenny kiss Louis.
Kiss Louis.
I shall eat grass and die in a ditch in the brown water where the dead leaves have rotted.
I saw you go,
said Bernard.
As you passed the door of the tool house, I heard you cry, I am unhappy. I put down my knife. I was making boats out of firewood.
With Neville.
And my hair is untidy.
Because when Mrs. Constable
told me to brush it,
there was a fly in a web.
And I asked, shall I free the fly?
Shall I free the fly?
Shall I let the fly be eaten?
Let the fly be eaten.
So I am late, always. My hair is unbrushed, and these chips of wood stick in it. When I heard you cry, I followed you, and saw you put down your handkerchief.
Screwed up.
With its rage, with its hate, knotted in it. But soon that will cease. Our bodies are close now.
Our bodies are close.
You hear me breathe.
You hear me breathe.
You see the beetle too, carrying off a leaf on its back.
It runs this way.
Then that way.
And I hate.
It runs.
It runs this way, then that way.
It runs.
So that even your desire, while you watch the beetle, to possess one single thing, it is Louis now.
It is Louis now.
Your desire must waver.
Like the light in and out of the beech leaves.
Now.
And then words
Louis.
moving darkly in the depths of your mind,
Now.
this knot of hardness screwed in your pocket handkerchief.
I
I
love,
said Susan,
said Susan.
and I hate.
And
I
I
hate.
hate.
I desire one thing only. My eyes are hard. Jenny's eyes,
Break into 1,000 lights.
Rhoda's, are like those.
Pale flowers to which moths come in the evening.
Yours grow full and brim.
And never break.
But I am already set in my pursuit. I see insects,
In the grass,
though my mother still knits white socks for me and hems pinafores, and I am a child. I love and I hate.
And I am a child. I love and I hate.
And
I am a child.
I
love
and
I
I
hate.
But when we sit together close, said Bernard, we melt into each other with phrases.
Phrases.
We are edged with mist.
With mist.
With mist.
We make an unsubstantial territory.
Territory.
said Ginny.
Said Bernard.
Said Rhoda.
Said Neville.
Said Susan.
Said Louis.
Said Jenny.
Said Bernard.
Said Rhoda.
Said Neville.
Said Susan.
Said Louis.
Thank you so much. I hope you all read the waves now. This will give you a starting way in. So you want to have anything you want to say or comments? We're open for chaos. All right.
Thank you all very much. It was just beautifully performed. It was so gratifying to see our language go from fragments of narrative into pure abstraction and then into sound. And that's only three maybe elements of what happened here. But I think that's the value of Virginia Woolf, and it was just beautifully done.
Thank you. Hey,
I just wanted to say, you made it like waves.
thank you. Yeah, I think, yes, the mixing of, I mixed the description of the opening of the day with their language, with their, with the things that they say. So I did rearrange it a little bit, but it does overlap and mix and turn and flow and ebb.
Can I add something to that?
Sure.
For those of you who haven't read the book, the chapter begins with a very, very beautiful and somewhat abstract passage in italics. And then the voices start, said Ginny, said Bernard, etc. And I think Linda did a really, really beautiful job of commingling those two somewhat formally different things that Woolf does. And I think you're absolutely right that the way they come together is really handsome. I was really impressed with that.
Could I ask a question of the audience? I would be interested in how many people have actually read The Waves. I would preface it with, when I was much, much younger, I did attempt to read it, and I put it aside for others that were more interesting, but I returned to it. And my husband can confirm that I struggled for several days, but I persisted. And I just loved the way it flowed, because I grew up at sea. And Linda was brilliant in the way she not only put this together, but directed us in just basically one day.
Right, this is a grand experiment of inviting people into the work. We spend Saturday afternoon together, and then we do a performance in the evening. It seems to be something that's very attractive. Wendy's been a member of TSL for many years, as well as Dave, and there's all kinds of relationships that are in our big TSL family that I would like to bring together in these opportunities to work on projects together. And time, and there's always the complication of time. I mean, I would love to just spend all my time rehearsing every day and having my theater company back, but that isn't very realistic. But this is an opportunity to share the work with the community of the things and the experiments that we've done, and there have been tremendous amount of things that I've put together over these 50 years span that I would like to revisit some of those with you, to share some of the experiments that we did, and there were a lot of them. So it would be great to continue the reading series. Mrs. Dalloway is something that I'm interested in terms of the Virginia Woolf series, and my favorite is probably what is my favorite?
The moment was pretty good.
To the Lighthouse?
To the lighthouse.
The moment of the Lighthouse. Yeah, there you see. The brain is exhausted. We have been working really hard to put this exhibit up next door, and I must say it's taken a lot of steam from the engine here to keep it all going. This anniversary may be the end of us all. I'm not sure where this is all going. And I want to thank Teo for all his recordings abilities and making that exhibit. So there you have it. You're excused if you want to have